Glen Powell and Margaret Qualley, two of Hollywood's biggest names, star in the subject of this week's review, How to Make a Killing, written and directed by John Patton Ford, who broke onto the scene with his film Emily the Criminal back in 2022. And today we're going to break down How to Make a Killing, completely spoiler-free. Let's get into it.
This is Popcorn for Breakfast, presented by St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings. Now, here are your hosts, Cam and Kirk.
Welcome back to Popcorn for Breakfast. Thank you so much for being here with me, as always. Kirk.
Hello, hello.
And I guess you've missed actually a couple because you've been super busy, so I shouldn't say as always, but really as always because it's still in spirit. I am Cam, and with us today, Stefano. How's it going?
Hello.
Welcome back.
All right. Yep. This is like 8 in a row or something.
Dude, you're on a streak right now. You're streaking. And
you're streaking? No. It's not that kind of a podcast.
It's good. I have this little like habit tracker that I use whenever I do good things, and it's just like a little. I'll just call it what it is. Just a little dopamine hit. Just like, ka-ding, you brushed your teeth. Good job. Just stuff like that. That's where I'm at mentally right now, guys. So let's we'll just start from there.
That's wonderful.
Today we're talking about a movie called How to Make a Killing. And this has been an interesting year so far, 2026. Lots of like releases that flew under the radar that have really high profile names, and this is one of them. Starring Glen Powell and Margaret Qualley, who I think not even arguably two of the biggest up and coming names in the industry right now. Margaret Qualley has certainly like cemented herself, I think. And Glen Powell is still like, he's in a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of saturation right now, but I still think he's in prove it mode. But maybe that's just me. But yeah, this was directed and written by a guy named John Patton Ford. In fact, in the trailers, they were like from John Patton, or like, I don't know. Some of the promotional like materials were like John Patton Ford's How to Make a Killing. And I was like, who is this guy? Well, he's the one who directed Emily the Criminal, which was kind of like a under the radar hit for Netflix back in 2022.
Which poses a question. If not that many people saw Emily the Criminal, I believe all of us did, but how does that translate to the general public? Like, the John Patton Ford. Like,
I think it did pretty well.
Because like I feel like most folks like will only know like 5 names sometimes, like director names. So if they see a name on there and they don't recognize it, they're like, it's probably important. So I'll just go with it.
He does have to have 3 because of
because of John Ford.
Because of John Ford, yes.
Right.
No.
Maybe that's my actual theory, is that maybe they're just like, it's a cool name.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, because I honestly, my first thought was, wait, is this someone I should know?
Oh,
John Patton Ford. Whenever I heard the name, they got me. So I think this is some like deep like underground marketing by A24.
Yeah.
They're like, let's throw this in here. It's just like it's a psyop is what it is.
Ooh, it is a psyop. Have you guys been fed through TikTok, like the CIA agents like talking about psyops in your TikTok feed? Oh, I get a piece of it every day. It's part of a longer podcast, but I get a piece of it. He's always talking about the psyops and the different structures of it. So I'm ready for it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like how I watch Pride and Prejudice in 1,000 small clips on TikTok all the time. It's just like continues to come up in my feed. So
beautiful.
There you have it. But today we're talking about how to make a killing. Glen Powell, Margaret Qualley, a couple other of people who pop up and surprise you in this one. Zach Woods being one of them. There's a couple people who pop up in this movie that just kind of take you by surprise. But let's get into this movie. Let's break it down. If you're new to the show, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to have each of us have a chance to give 3 takes on the film. We're going to go around the horn. Each person can give a take. If someone takes your take, you can't take their take. You have to have your own take.
I'm taking your take no matter what.
You have to have your own. But we can each kind of build on each other's, and we'll just kind of go around, try to point out as many different, unique things about the film as we noticed. And then at the end, we'll do last looks, which is our final thoughts and score on the movie, and we'll score it out of 10. I think Kirk has to go first.
You have to.
I think he has to. He has to. He's back in the chair.
I will take that. My first take, it's got to be about Glen Powell.
Mm-hmm.
And he is mid-city, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly as the kids say it these days. Mid-city. I mean, Glen Powell has been thrusted into the spotlight as an attempt at the next big movie star. They keep giving him these giant roles. They keep trying to make Glen Powell a thing, like almost like Fetch with Mean Girls. Mm-hmm. He's just not there yet. And I don't think he ever will be. There's something very specific about Glen Powell where, yeah, he looks good on camera because he eats 10 calories a day and he works out for 100 hours a day, but he does not have the emotional chakras to emote through the screen.
That was a good vocab word.
Thank you. I don't even know if
I don't
it's
even
right.
know if that's right in context. I think it's shock, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm just sick of. I thought I was getting Pedro Pascal fatigue last year. I am 1,000% getting Glen Powell fatigue with how he's being miscast left and right, being positioned as a leading man. He is not a leading man. I think you could pivot him as a supporting man. I think he would be good in that spot, but I don't think they'll release that back to him when whatever kind of contract they've given him with the studios.
Yeah, so you felt like you were getting Pedro Pascal fatigue, like many people, because of the saturation.
Yeah,
but what you're saying here is that it's not saturation; it's lack of ability.
Right. So then, like when I went to see every single 90 releases that Pedro had last year, I was like, "Dang, he's
you
really
tip your
good."
cap. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
Like I just love him.
He can bring it. I have to agree, Kirk. I'm right there with you, and I'm glad that you said it. You ever hear the phrase the first one through the wall gets bloody?
No,
That's.
I've heard of the Kool-Aid man goes through the wall.
He does. You're the Kool-Aid man, and you're the one who took
perfect.
the bullet for us, because I've noticed that on the internet, if like we made a lighthearted joke about Austin Butler one time that was like not at all hateful, and then people were like, "You're just jealous because he's attractive." So I just want to get in front of this one. Glen Powell, very good looking guy. I think we've covered that. Very, very good physical specimen. Okay. I would love to look like Glen Powell, but the point is,
I think we shave our beards, we look exactly like him.
clean shave is coming in. But the point is, I think he's one dimensional. And that's what you're saying is like, can he be a supporting guy? Yeah. Because I think he has a type. He has a type of role that he plays. And I will say this movie does kind of play to that role because it is like a comedy and he does well in more of a lighthearted environment ish. He's not a comedian. Let's be clear about that, but he does a little bit better in a lighthearted kind of setting. But and this was that. But I agree with you. I think I don't think he has it. I don't think he has the sauce, and I'm kind of out on him as a leading man. I feel like anytime he shares the screen with a more capable actor, it just shows over and over. And I felt like that was most scenes in this movie.
Yes.
Hold up, folks. I'm just kidding. I agree with you both.
I was like, oh no, are we gonna have to fight Stefan? No, it's okay.
No, I just it's like, okay, like, is he more of an action star? And I didn't like him at all in Running Man. And
No.
I think the one role I did really like him in, because he didn't need to have much emotion, was in Hitman, where he's just kind of playing these different characters and he's kind of like a stone cold type of person. And I think it works in that role. But then I think that's kind of it. I think this character would kind of lend itself to a stone cold type of person, but it wasn't really trying to go for that. So then it didn't work.
I sorry to interrupt, but I think I do think the writing kind of failed him a little bit too, because I agree with you that like I felt like this role was he got this role because of Hitman, like because of the Hitman, because it's a kind of a similar type of thing going on.
Sure.
And so you see that sometimes where it's like, oh, well, he did really good in this, so let's cast him in this. And that's kind of how it felt here. And I know he's executive producer on the movie, so whatever. Yeah. But I think either he or his agent or somebody thought that he would do well in this role, but then I didn't think the writing was correct to your point for this character to work for him.
No. If he was more of a sociopath, I think it would have worked a little better. But
yeah, I think it would have served the story better too.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. He just he missed the mark. He just missed the mark. It's upsetting. Every single actor that he came across, like you said, did better than him, and he has to come across a lot of actors. So in like a I don't know, like a WWE cage match, he would be slaughtered every single time.
Love that analogy. Stefano, where are you going?
Okay, well, I'm going to pile on acting, because I actually thought that, as much as I love most of her performances, I thought Margaret Qualley, to put it not lightly, was pretty unbearable, actually. Like, I don't want to be that critic that's just dumping on someone's acting performance, but I've loved so many of her performances in the past, and I love her kitschiness, and I usually love that type of delivery, but I think this turn in this film was so off base. It was kind of annoying. I don't know how else to put it without, you know, trying to make up other words. It was just a bit annoying. Didn't love her line delivery. I think she was just, it was this weird showboaty character that I think wasn't warranted for this type of movie at all. And this movie has a lot of funny moments and off kilter things, but I think what she was trying to do in this just didn't work for me. And I thought, when it was her and Glenn in a scene, just the two of them, I thought it really, really struggled in those moments.
Yeah. So Kirk's a big Margaret Qualley guy. So I'm gonna jump in here first, and I will just say this. I 100% agree with you, and that is not a take that I expected to have in this movie.
Me either.
But what was up with this character? This character sucks, and her performance in it was so over the top and so caricature-ish. I just could not handle it at all.
When we were talking to Ian, who we work with through the marketing team that helps us, with these screenings, he said he got a lot of mustache twirling vibes from Margaret Qualley, and I think that's a really, really good way of putting it.
I love that. Yeah, that's 100% correct. It was such a wink at the camera kind of performance, and I was very annoyed with it immediately.
I think it's a very poorly written character.
Yes.
And it twofold: poorly written character and poor direction. If this film had a more succinct style, if it leaned that way, it does have a style. If it leaned that way, if it tilted just a little bit, I think she'd be right in the pocket. But a badly written character that should have been more important for where it started and where it ended, and juxtaposed against whatever Glen Powell was trying to do, also kind of off kilter. Yeah. So she was feeding off of him in 98% of her scenes, right? So she was trying to pivot. She's fantastic, not in this film, but I don't think it's her fault.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agree. I'm going to stick with my first take on the acting, but I want to just give some flowers to Jessica Henwick, who I think is a good actor.
Yeah.
And I've liked her in a lot of things. I feel like the first time where I was like, okay, we've really got something here was ironically like Matrix Resurrections, which is a movie that I did not like. But I really liked her performance in that movie. And I've liked her in pretty much everything I've seen her in.
Well, you saw her, of course, in the Iron Fist series, the Netflix Marvel series that you loved, right?
Obviously. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I've seen her in a film in a little while, and I was so pleasantly surprised to see her here, and I thought she did great. I liked
she was great.
Yeah, she was really excellent. And there's a couple other I don't want to take away from your guys' other takes, but there's a couple other performances in here and some really interesting casting choices in here. But her, to me, I was like, let's get more Jessica Henwick in movies. I feel like this was another good outing for her.
She nailed it.
She was great.
All right, Kirk, we're back to you.
Ooh,
for take two.
Well, take two for me has to be that the production was on fleek, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh. Oh no, you've got some sort of theme thing going on?
No.
It's just happening organically. That's actually scarier for some reason.
Just thinking off the top of my head. I thought the production value was incredible. So there are a lot of different settings that we get pulled through between all of the different people that Glen Powell has to go through to get his inheritance. And every single one of them was very well executed, down to every little detail in the rooms, in the background, on desks, in these large open rooms. They didn't just seem like large open studios that they threw a few things in. No, they were real places that you could tangibly touch and feel. I really, 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 really loved that. I felt enveloped in, I felt the stakes were higher because I could physically be there in the room with them. And even when with so many characters, I feel like the production team, the set team specifically, was working really well with the costuming team, because when those characters, when you went into their home, if you will, wherever we met them at, they looked like they belonged there. Kind of like wearing the snazzy jacket. I'm in Cam's snazzy studio. I belong here, right? So those sorts of things, the marriage of those creative teams was really, really impressive and kept me engaged the whole film.
Yeah, I agree with that take. I think it looked really good. I think, the production design was great. The costuming was great. And I enjoyed that element so much that I was trying to convince myself I liked the film more than I actually think I did.
Yeah.
And that's good though, that at least we have that portion of it that he has John Ford has a really good eye. And I really appreciate that. I just have to name him. Wait, what was his middle name?
Patton.
John. Oh yeah,
Not
JPF.
the legendary Western director
no,
John Ford,
no,
though.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
maybe with time. I agree. The lighting was good too.
Yes.
I think that was a point I wanted to make, because as I was watching this, I was thinking about, this is a well lit film, and this is not one of my takes, so I'm gonna keep it short. But a lot of people, like on the film Twitter and stuff like that, think that good lighting is like, you know, these really like intense lighting setups and really like unique different choices, and that's true, like that's accurate. But also, good lighting is just lighting good, like just lighting a scene well, and that's what I felt like was going on here. There was nothing fancy about it, nothing flashy, nothing crazy, but it all made sense. It was all cohesive. It didn't look flat. It looked really good.
Looks good.
Good lighting is lighting good. I want that on my t-shirt.
Yeah, let's make a t-shirt. All right, Stefano, what's your second take?
Second take is the main structure of the film being a narration from the, I guess, present time did not work for me at all. I think the issue I had with the narration, so essentially the film starts with Glen Powell's character a few hours away from his execution. He's on death row. And so the film is him telling the story. But the issue I have with the narration is that rather than like adding to it, it kind of acts as a crutch to not being able to show us and tell us things with the events that are going on. It's more, here's something that's happening, and then Glen Powell's talking over it. I also just didn't, I know we already talked about Glen Powell's performance. I didn't love his narration style. I don't know. It just was a little blech, like it didn't quite work. I think it was a little too matter of fact. And I didn't really like that about it. But again, it just, I rather those scenes be filled with silences and physical acting rather than Glen Powell talking over it about what we're supposed to know. I think it makes it feel all a bit lazy and doesn't really give the audience enough space to make assumptions on their own and things like that. So did not love that element of it.
Yeah. I will just pile on and add my take two here too, because mine is the screenplay, which I feel like segues perfectly into this. I felt the same. I felt similarly about the dialogue in this movie, just being kind of lazy. I felt like in the same way the narration is overly expository, I felt like the dialogue was. I felt like the dialogue was full of like cliches and trite expressions and just like conversation pieces that are just uninteresting, because what each person is going to say after they say it, because it's just kind of like boring, very straightforward writing. And so like I didn't feel the story is not horrible. The story has some good moments actually, and I think that there is enough there to where you could have written a pretty good movie out of this, but they didn't. Like John Patton Ford did not write a good movie. I felt like the writing, particularly the dialogue, was not good. Okay,
is that your third take? Second take?
That was my second take. So we're back to Kirk for 3.
For me, my third take will have to be that there is, stay with me, guys.
I hate this. I hate this so much.
There's one pacing battle after another, guys.
That doesn't even keep with the theme.
I know.
Nope.
It's just every take is a gimmick is what I'm getting, and that's okay.
Yeah, so I think the to your point, the script does fall short, does fall a little lazy. It's enhanced with the production, but I didn't have an issue with the pacing of the script. I had an issue with the pacing of the editing. So it kind of pulls a little bit from your last takes, because we have this countdown, right? I only have so much time to tell this story before I'm capital killed, right? But then there are jumps in the story that make no sense. Like all of a sudden we're like, it's been a really long time. I was like, it's been 1.5 minutes. What are we doing here? And we've jumped 11 months with no montage, no nothing. That part really irked me. And they did it at least twice. And again, I like rolled my eyes. I think I looked at you guys. I don't think you saw me. That theater was particularly dark. And I was like throwing my hands in the air. And I was like, it's fine. But the editing, I had an issue with the pacing of the editing, and which bled into the script a little, but more so the editing. It aggravated me that we weren't guided properly to where the characters were at in time. Separate from the production. Again, the production, it's just perfect, honestly. It was just I didn't know where I was at in time with the retelling, and where I was at time in the hey, let me tell you my story before I'm put to death by the state. So that's where I am at.
Yeah, it's interesting that we get the movie starts with, like, the first thing you see in the movie is text on screen, 4 hours to execution.
Yes.
That's literally the first thing. But then that's the only milestone we get. That's the only exit sign, road marker that we get the whole time. And they jump back in time significantly, and we don't know where we're at or what's happening. You know, so I agree with that.
Yep.
I think that's a good call.
Thanks.
Totally.
All right. Last take, Stefano.
All right. So I do have a third take. I'll say, so most of the issues I have with the film were kind of on the front end and on the back end. I think there's like a 25 or 30 minutes in the middle of this movie that I really did enjoy, particularly the Zach Wood segment and Topher Grace segments of this film, where, again, we're talking about how we didn't particularly love the two performances from our leads, but the Zach Woods, Bill Camp, Topher Grace all really shined in this film. And I think the Zach Woods segment in particular was so genuinely funny. And I think what was even more shocking to me was the writing in that portion was excellent. Like, the jokes were so good and it was so impressive. And I think that moment of the film got the most laugh out louds because it was so clever. You know, I wish maybe eventually, once it's on streaming, we can cut out just that portion and enjoy it as like a standalone skit, because I really did love it that much. And I think there were some really good comedic sensibilities in this film, but I wish that it was either more consistently funny and creative in that way, or maybe just not at all. I think it took itself very seriously in some moments. It tried to be very funny in other moments, so it was a little uneven in that sense. But Zach Woods, Topher Grace, I really thought they were hilarious, and I enjoyed those moments.
Yeah, shout out to the supporting cast. Supporting cast played their roles.
Dude.
They did very well.
Very well. Bill Camp, perfect.
Heck yeah, he's always perfect.
Ed Harris, perfect.
Yep.
Loved it.
Yeah, I agree. The Ed Harris in general is just like his character is kind of shrouded in mystery.
Yep.
And I love the way that they handled that.
Always.
It was great.
But
yeah,
I also didn't like that. I did not like that scene at all. Like,
no,
Ed
I
Harris.
agree.
Like, I don't want to say finale because it's not quite the finale, but I thought that in-house set piece looked good, but I thought it was stupid. Sorry. Anyway.
Yeah. Fair point. My take 3 will be just a short expansion on my take 2, I think, because there was one thing I forgot to say that I want to say, which is that there's a lot of stuff that happens in this movie plot wise that does not make sense. There's a lot of like continuity things, and like it was almost like they couldn't decide how detailed they wanted to go in explaining how he's doing these things, but because they like you can make that choice, right? So but because they straddled the line, it was frustrating, because you're like, some things they're explaining more so than others, and other things they're just not. They're just like, and then he did this, and it's like, well, how? Why? How does he have the expertise to know that? How does that work? Whatever. There's one point in this movie where part of the setup for this event that is going to, I mean, it's so hard to say spoiler free sometimes, for the event that's going to happen, is that there is the use of a very, very heavy object to harm someone. And Glen Powell's just holding it in his hand. Like, you know, it's like when you can tell that actors have like empty soda cans and stuff like that. Like, it looked exactly like that. And I'm just like, that just totally undermines this entire set piece. Like, you have to be more thoughtful with that stuff. So that kind of stuff was frustrating for me. I'm like, if you're going to write a story that has so many elaborate set pieces related to the story, you got to think it through. Or if you're going to like, ask the audience to trust you a little bit, you got to make that choice and commit to it. You got to go that direction. You can't explain some things and choose not to explain others. It just doesn't work.
Totally.
Indeed.
So that's where I'm at. All right, gentlemen, we've made it to the finish line.
I thought you were going to say start your engines. Like
start. It's like Kevin James. One of my favorite clips ever, which, by the way, the Kevin James.
Solo mio.
Yeah. His whole painting thing that he was doing on TikTok was a movie promotion this entire time. That was crazy. That's one of the craziest marketing ever seen. Stefano, I know you're not on TikTok, but have you seen any of that?
I've seen little bits and pieces here. and
Yeah.
there.
Wild stuff. What a twist. What a twist.
Very weird.
And I still won't see that movie.
No, not a chance. Not a chance. They know no one wants to see it, so they're like, please, for the love of goodness, please.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a real shame. Thoughtful marketing is not going to work out this time. Okay, we've made it to the final segment, which is last looks, where we give our final thoughts and score. Kirk, you are up first, my friend. What do you have to say?
Well, I can't go a podcast without dunking on Timothy Chalamet, and he's not even in this film. Just to be clear. So Timothy Chalamet, he's in a little movie called Marty Supreme. You guys might have heard about this.
Yep.
And
Stefano's ping pong ball is still in my pocket.
Yep, I realized.
He asked me to bring it, and I brought it, and then I just didn't give it to him. It just sat there with me the whole movie, and then I got in the car, and I was like, "Yep, there it is."
Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, it's like what's the Greek god who has to roll the stone to the top of the mountain, and then it keeps rolling back?
I don't know.
Right.
Indiana Jones.
Yes, that's right.
the one.
That's right. Persephone. I don't know what it is. I used to know. Anyways, Timothy Chalamet, Marty Supreme. Good movie, bad lead actor. Similar situation here, but I think the core of this movie is stronger than Marty Supreme, and I disliked both movies equally. So it's a weird paradox altogether.
Wow.
Yeah. So like Marty Supreme, great movie, but detours hard away from the core story, so then it diminishes how big the impact is. But Timothy Chalamet at the reins cannot drive the ship. You mentioned Stefano and you mentioned Cam about Zach Wood's section. Well, I think that good actors and good writers can enhance a scene with the original screenwriter while they're filming it. Famously, like Jack Nicholson in The Departed kept adding stuff, and then that got in the film, right? But when you have such a vanilla, dead behind the eyes guy like Glen Powell, it doesn't go anywhere. So everything else looks good, sounds good, but never quite gets there. My score today is 5.6 out of 10 kernels.
Okay. Stefano.
All right. I just want to say Marty Supreme is a much better film than this one, but we'll move on from
He just
that.
had to bring it back, didn't he?
I don't even think they're even remotely in the same universe.
He's pushing the envelope.
I think after the film ended, I liked it more than I do now. I think at the end of the day, it's just more of a mixed bag than like a complete failure. Like I don't know if it's the worst movie I've seen this year. Probably not, but I just think there was a lot of expectation. I thought because it looked so good, I just wish that it had the juice to match up with how good it looked and some of the funnier moments. I am at a 5.0 on this one.
Okay.
Wow.
I will be bringing up the rear on the scores, I think. I feel similarly. This was a case for me where like the end result is even less than the sum of the parts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is,
Sure.
It's kind of a weird feeling. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, but each thing as they come together makes the other things even worse. You know what I mean? Like they kind of drag each other down because they kind of like snowball effect. So yeah, I have issues with this movie. I found it like mostly uninteresting. I felt like it should have been a lot more interesting than it was. It didn't look bad, and it moved at a decent pace to where you're not like bored by the fact that they're stretching things out. But I was bored by the fact that I just like didn't care about any of these characters, didn't care about what was happening particularly, and it just didn't work for me. So I'm at a 4.4 out of 10 on this one.
Wow. I think because I haven't been in a theater for so long, I was just overjoyed and gave it a higher score.
I'm gonna reverse shout out AMC Creve Core for
The anti-shout out.
No, I'm sorry, I have to. Well, our audio was messed up in the theater. All the dialogue audio was coming out of like a Bose, no, not even a Bose, a JBL speaker. It sounded like it was super tinny.
It was all high end, no bass.
Yes, it was very unfortunate, and I feel like my experience was probably altered slightly because I was already angry that it wasn't fixed when the film started. So
also the projector was flickering.
Yes,
and it was like
flickering.
It was just subtle enough to not be like, okay, I gotta go tell somebody, but it was bad enough to like dude, those first scenes like in the prison, I thought it was intentional at first because of how it looked, because they were in a dimly lit prison, but I was like getting like vertigo. The room is spinning. I don't know what's happening. It was not working for me. So yeah, shout out to them. They dropped the ball. Great theater. I like that theater a lot.
Yeah, it's a good theater. It's a good theater.
Just bad experience.
Got to tune up the audio, and in case you guys want to know, their phone numbers are.
Here's their address.
It'll be a recorded corporate line. Don't worry, you can't call them.
That's right.
That's for sure. It goes straight to Nicole Kidman. It's just her phone number, and she just says the lines from her intro over and over again. She just interrupts you, like you can't say anything. So that's how it works.
That de-escalates well, I feel like.
It would work. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Popcorn for Breakfast and our review of How to Make a Killing. The movie releases in theaters this weekend, February the 20th. So go out and see it, form your own opinion. It was AMC Screen Unseen tonight, which was actually like overlapped with our screening, so that was kind of nice. So maybe you've already seen it. If you have, please let us know your thoughts in the comments. We really want to hear it. I think this is going to be one that people are a little bit mixed on. Do you guys feel that way too? Because we had some good reactions in the crowd.
Yeah, I think it'll be mixed to positive. I think like at the end of the day, we'll probably be in the slight minority. Like I don't think it's going to be glowing, but I do think there'll be some people that really do like it.
Yeah, I think this movie breaks even at the box office. I don't think it tanks. I don't think it does superb. I think it just breaks even.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because we're coming off the Valentine's Day weekend, President's Day kind of like extended weekend for some folks, which was a big box office weekend with lots of people going. So this one might struggle a little bit at the beginning, but a lot of movies are doing better if you actually keep them in the theater. So that's the key. All you studios, keep your movies in the theaters, and word of mouth will spread, and then maybe people go see it.
Marty Supreme has been rocking. Marty Supreme's been rocking for weeks. They delayed the digital release because it was doing so well. Sorry.
Yeah. Send Help is doing great too. Yeah. Like there's Goat did well last weekend. I know
Iron Lung, obviously.
Yeah, so it's good. We're off to a good start this year. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you want more content, always know that you can find us on any of our social media profiles, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. We have a Discord server that is free. The link is in the description down below, and you can join us to talk about movies there. We would absolutely love to have you in there. As always, you can check out our website, popcorn4breakfast.com, where you can find additional blogs. Stefano just had a blog drop today, the date of recording, about Wuthering Heights. We write about all sorts of movies on there. We've also got all of our videos, our podcasts, and other content on there, so be sure to check it out. But until next time, we want to give a special thanks to Stefano. Stefano, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, we'll have to do it again soon. And special thanks to our executive producer, Ryan, the band Rhetoric, who created our original music, and our title sponsor, St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings. We will see you all in the next episode.
Talk to you then.